Welcome to PhotoshopUser TV, brought to you by the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. And now, here are your hosts, the Photoshop guys.
Well, hi everyone, welcome to another Space Age episode of PhotoshopUser TV. We are brought to you by the fine folks at PhotoshopUser Magazine. And whose artwork
It's a very
is that?
nice cover on there.
I like that cover very much. I wonder who did the cover art. Said cover. With all the 3D cool
The
stuff
3D
in
stuff. That must have been Scott.
Indeed it was. All right, welcome everyone. I am Corey Barker. Welcome to PhotoshopUser TV. I'm here with, of course, Mr. RC.
Hey everybody,
RC Concepcion.
How you doing, RC?
I'm doing good. I'm actually playing around with technology in the Google Plus Hangouts.
I see that
right?
we are...
So we're taping a show, just for those of you who are watching here, and for those of you who are watching here. We're doing a show for you guys, and obviously the shows are taped and they go for a couple weeks, but we're also playing with the power of technology. We're playing with a Google Plus Hangout. So we're doing a live Google Plus, and we're probably not gonna cut too much into it because we don't necessarily know who jumps in and who jumps out and does any of that stuff. But if you're watching on the Google Plus side, you'll see that you're getting kind of a little bit of a behind-the-scenes tour of that. So Pete's aptly running our Logitech C910 camera. But that's pretty much what's going on with me. Just
love it.
Playing with technology. What about
Very,
you?
very cool. And of course we have Mr. Pete Collins way over there.
Yes, I'm going to take over Juan's job over on the jib because I handled that camera so smoothly. I've got a new job once they fire me from here.
Just stiff arm it. You've got a portable jib right there. All right. So
good to be here, guys.
Good. All right. So I'm going to dive right in, and I'm going to do a quick tip real quick.
Yeah, okay. No, it was just like you said, good, and I'm like, wow, that was loud.
No, good. Good.
Good.
I'm just keeping everybody's attention here.
That's
right here.
Commanding voice.
All right.
What do you got for a tip?
Actually, a really quick thing with shapes here. There's something inside Photoshop. I've actually got a document created here, and I'm going to go into my shape tools, as you see right here. And this is one place that I think few users go, and that's at the very bottom here where it says Custom Shape Tool. Now what I can do is go up here into the options bar, and are you getting all this, Pete? Okay.
Yep.
And as you can see, probably on Google Plus if you're watching, my tablet is here in my lap. So it's just, I have no space to put it on the table here, so I have to kind of do it right down here. So,
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the old Dave Cam.
Yes.
Remember Dave Cam?
Yes, exactly, yes.
Dave Cam was pretty cool.
I'm going to try not to let these guys get too sick, so I'm going to put it back down here.
Okay.
So you've got a large collection of preset shapes that are actually built inside Photoshop, and what I like to do is actually look at all of them. There are all these different categories of shapes. You've got banners and arrows and things like that. I actually choose all because I never know what shape I'm going to need, so I just like to kind of just skim through all of them and get an idea. And for the most part, a lot of them are pretty useless. There's a lot. There's a lot of here's Mr. Foot.
I use that foot all the time.
And it's got the left and right foot, just in case you don't know how to flip the graphic inside Photoshop. But at any rate, it's got a pretty impressive collection of shapes. So what I'm getting at here is I'm actually going to go and grab one of my favorites, which is this cool yin-yang shape right here, and I'm going to draw it as a path. So let's go ahead and create a new layer here. And I'm just going to draw this path out. I'm going to actually add the Shift key so I can drag it out here. And what I'm getting at is actually something I saw on a T-shirt design recently where you have graphics, and it's got the graphic shape, but it's defined by the negative space. There's like a painted around it, almost like the graphic was used as a mask, and it was wildly painted around it. And I wanted to do that really interestingly in here. So I've got the shape drawn out, and I'm just going to go ahead and press Command-Enter, and that's going to activate that path as a selection. Now what I'm going to do is go into the Select menu now and go to Inverse. So that flips the selection around. Now the outer area is selected and not the actual graphic itself. So with that, I'm going to go and grab the brush tool. And let's go and get kind of a little spatter brush here, like that one. And let's go ahead and modify its behavior here. I'm going to go and open up the brush options. And let's just add some shape dynamics. I'm going to have it change the size a little bit, maybe change the angle as I paint, and let's maybe space it out a little bit. And there's one feature in the brushes that I know a lot of people don't use, but actually gives you some interesting results, is right down here where it says Wet Edges. And that actually does something. It actually kind of lets the pixels interact like it was actually wet paint you were laying down here. So what I'm going to do is just go back into my document here. I could certainly modify that brush some more, but I think got it to where I want it. Let's go ahead and get a color, because painting with black is just boring. Let's get like a green. So now I'm just going to click and start painting. And now you can see it's ignoring the graphic shape itself. But now, the cool thing about the wet edges element is if I stop and release my mouse and then start painting again, the color gets darker. It gets patchy, like it's an actual kind of wet effect on it. So that's kind of giving me the idea. And if you really wanted to, kind of blend it in a little bit more, I can deselect and then just kind of dab in some little elements here and there, just kind of give it a more distressed look. But the way it's kind of a quick and easy way you can get that kind of negative space design by just putting some paint elements in there. And I could certainly add some elements where it runs and things like that, like it's been oversprayed or something like that. So just another thing you can do with not just the preset symbols in Photoshop, but also any symbols you might create on your own, or perhaps bring from Illustrator or something like that.
And I think that that's the real cool point about this, is that a lot of the times people just see the shapes as the shapes. It's just like, all right, well, what am I going to do with a shape? Like, what am I going to do with a paw? You know, do I put a paw on a graphic or something like that? But you can use it as a foundation to paint in it, out of it, around it, glow it, affect it.
Literally think outside the lines here.
Well, and you can also, the nice thing is, it may be a jumping off point. Go in there with your path tool and change it just a little bit to make it a very unique
Precisely, which
shape.
brings me to my next tip, which will be a little bit later in the show. So
nice.
Hold off on that.
Yeah, good idea.
Very, very cool. All right, so I have a quick Lightroom tip. Now, when you're working with multiple catalogs, a lot of the times you can find that you'll have like 5 or 6 different catalogs. I don't know why you would do it, but if you need to be able to manage it, like we need to do that stuff from a demo standpoint. If I want to show a specific feature, then we can go ahead and we can, actually have different types of catalogs. So what I would do here is, the tip is to cancel out of your Lightroom. I'm going to skip for now, and I'm just going to hold down one button, the Alt button, the Option button. When you do that, you'll notice that there's a series of catalogs that will show up here in the list. So right inside of there, you have the option to be able to pick which catalog you want to start with, and you have the option to delete other catalogs should you not need them. So right now, I have this catalog to be set up for always load this catalog on startup. This is going to get me the catalog that I want, and then you can also choose a different catalog from here. You can click on choose different catalog and you find the catalog that you want. But what happens is, for me, whenever I start Lightroom by default, it always puts a catalog right inside of like my pictures folder or inside of my documents. So instead, what I tend to do is I point it to a specific area. And this is how I kind of get in there to get rid of the sample one and manage the new one.
Very nice.
So, all right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, you've got a tip for us.
I've got another bonus tip.
We have some contest stuff and some more information. Stick around.
Hi, this is Tom Bull. Wait till you see my new video on adventure sports for Kelby training. Whoa. To get these kind of shots, you gotta go where the action is. This is the official rock climbing stance shot. Not many people could do it. Lisa's well known for her climbing ability. Oh my God, that's so good. Amazing. Work it, Lisa. Awesome. Perfect. Oh, I love that angle. Phenomenal. Nice. Work it. Shake out. Whoa, man. Are those cows down there? They look like little specks. Lisa, wait a second. Where are you going? Hold on. Hey, hold on. Hey. Can somebody get me down here? Hello? Come on, I need some help.
So we didn't want to forget to mention the big events coming up here at the end of March, March 23rd. Photoshop World is going to be in D.C.
That's right. Our nation's capital.
Yep.
I'm feeling a little misty.
Yes, it is.
I'm feeling a little misty. All right, so March 24th to the 26th at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center. Make sure that you come and stop by and say hello at www.photoshopworld.com. You may or may not be past the registration date. So just keep that in mind when you're doing
The early bird registration.
Oh, the early bird registration.
Yeah, we are. So if you're watching this show and it's past February 17th, then you've missed the early bird.
And you've missed out on doing $100, but we still want you to make sure you attend.
Yeah, people can attend, can walk up the day of and
That's right.
get in.
Absolutely.
That's right.
They won't save the $100 for the early bird, but they'll be able to get in.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you have a tip?
I have a tutorial,
You have
which
a
is much
tutorial.
bigger than a tip.
Oh, okay. Please entertain us.
Yes.
Okay. Well, once a couple weeks ago, I did a tip on how to utilize your stock imagery and make it a little bit bigger. Make it, you could buy an image and then flip it so that you got twice the image for half the price. Well, so I started playing with that and thinking about what kind of images I would like to buy and play with to give me different backgrounds that I could use in other compositions. And so I kind of went on a hunt for unique backgrounds that could be flipped to give me a completely different look. And so if we take a look at this, this image right here, it's a nice warehouse. The reason why I have the black over here, normally it would just be without that black border over there, but that's going to facilitate me to be able to do this a little more quickly. Excuse me. What I will do is I will look at this and realize that there's a certain point that you can find that is kind of like the center line of the image. And this is where the direct vertical line of your perspective is. And if you figure it out, then you realize if you crop it on either side of that and flip it, you'll get a decent mirrored image. And so what I've done is I've come in, and that's the original image right there. Let me get rid of this little guide right here because it'll distract you. And I have cropped it by taking my marquee tool, and I simply, where that line is, I will come over and I will do this. I will cut it by hitting Command X. Helps if I'm on the right layer. Command X will cut that, and now I will paste it on its own layer, and I'm going to hit Shift when I do that. Actually, I just pasted about 14 of those. Yeah. But anyway, not a big deal because I'm a professional. I can handle it. Really? So what I've got now is I've got just that one section right there, but if I hit Command J and create a copy of that, which is kind of redundant since I have 7 of them, then I hit Command or Control T, and then I hold my Control button or right click, I can then flip horizontally. And what that's going to do is that's going to give me, when I've dragged this over to the center, it's going to give me the look of a, oh, it's doing it to me again. Yes, it's locking up on me. So I hit my Command or Control T to free transform. If ever you're, when you're trying to move something and it keeps jumping back, your Photoshop or your computer's kind of glitching on you, if you will set it into free transform mode and don't transform it, just move it around, it will obey your commands and actually
snap back thing it does.
Yeah, it keeps snapping back, which
annoying,
drives me
isn't it?
crazy.
Yeah, yep.
But so I created a hallway by just using that same feature of flipping it, mirroring it, and it gives me a whole new look. Now I would go in and I'd change some of this graffiti so it wouldn't be backwards and it wouldn't be the same on each side, but it creates a new look. But what I really liked is when I did the same thing with the other portion is what I was looking for, and it gives you this whole wide open factory-like feel that you couldn't get. Let me show you the original image once again. That was what it looked like before when I cut it. And so that's what you're basically downloading from your stock image. Once I flip it, you get that whole image right there, and I've gone and I've tweaked some repeating patterns and stuff, but it gives you a brand new, bigger, wider vista where you could do some compositions, you could drop in models, you could do some other things, and it's real quick and easy. So I started hunting around for different ideas. I did this one, I looked at it, and I said, man, I could cut this. And instead of having this simple room that's got some windows and stuff, I cut it in half, flipped it, and I was able to create a bigger, larger room by simply cutting it in half, flipping it, but then I used the one overlooked feature, which was the content scale.
Content-aware scale, yeah.
Content-aware scale. And I just took a section of the wall, and I just scaled it across and joined it up. So you basically got a third in the middle is just all made up of content-aware scale. And so now I can drop stuff in there. And for example, over here I did the exact same thing. And when I got through, I had this nice warehouse building. And of course you need something to go in there. So I decided to drop in the General Lee because, you know, who doesn't need the General Lee in their warehouse? Finally, this is where I really wanted to get to. What this does is it starts to inspire you to think outside the box in some of the images you may have already had, because I'm all about using what you have in creative ways. I have this image of this train track, and I can make some definitely more exciting things with it if I just simply flip it. I gotta hide these because that's the original. What I've done is I simply flipped, if you look, here's the original. I've just cut it down the middle and I flipped that right side to create that, and I like that. If I flip it on the other way, I get this whole vista, which if just looking at that, suddenly I want to place something in there, I want to do something with it, and it just gets me excited there. It was an okay picture to begin with, but now it's got drama to it. And so then what I did, I really started playing with this one once again, and I decided I needed to see what I could drag in there. It's kind of wanting me to, let me zoom in just a little bit, make it look like there's a story going on here. What I wanted to do was give you something that created this sense of what's going on between the two sides. And this all came out of me just playing. I suddenly just thought, you know, there's some water that could be running down through there, and it made me go kind of in a direction I would have never gone if I hadn't started playing with this. I never would have gotten from here to there if I hadn't just started messing around. And so my tip is to take what you already have, look at some ways that you can look at what you have and let it inspire you to do things in a different way. And it's all through Photoshop just by playing, taking an image, flipping it, wrapping it around, and doing some unique things with it.
I tend to do that too, not just with images, but with graphics. You can build like interesting symmetrical designs just with graphic elements too. So I mean, that's a great tip.
Things we can't do necessarily with a photograph normally when we're taking a picture. We can't get that kind of vista. And a lot of times you'll have a great section of a picture that you really like and you wish you could do something with, but there's all this other stuff. Cut it out, use Photoshop, flip it, do some changes, and suddenly you've got this beautiful wide vista that you didn't have before.
As cool as content aware scale is, you never really use it, but when you do, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But you rarely ever find a use for it, but when you do, yeah, it really works great. So, okay, is it my turn?
I think it's time for your turn.
Just a quick tip.
Your quick tip.
Quick tip before we
I took a quick pen just in case you're watching this. We're sitting there, we're talking, and we're like, oh wow, look at this, our teleprompter just died. So, Cody, quick tip.
We're shooting from the hip now. All right. So just a really quick thing. I've got this little text element that I created, so it's just a subtle little hint there. But what I'm going to do is actually highlight the text because what I want is to actually close this text in a little bit by adjusting the tracking. So I'm going to hold down the Option key and hit my left arrow, and that closes in the tracking of the text a little bit, kind of making it one big shape. Now what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and make a path out of this text, and it's really easy to do, and it's kind of a hidden thing, but if you have a text layer, just simply right-click or control-click on it if you're on Mac, and when the menu pops up, go down here and choose Create Work Path. So if I turn the text off, there you can see it's created paths based on that text, and they're nice, clean paths. So what I'm going to do is actually select these paths. Let's go ahead and get this and grab my path selection tool. I'm going to select all the paths and combine them. Up here in the options bar, we've got a button for combine. Click on that, and now it fuses all that into one shape. Now, we've created basically a graphic element out of text, converting it into paths. So what can we do with it? A lot of stuff, but just to show you real quick what you can do, I'm going to select that, and let's go and grab the brush tool. And let's go, I've already got my brush selected here. It's kind of a scatter brush, but I'm actually going to turn on Shape Dynamics and use pen pressure. Now, you're going to want to turn on pen pressure even if you're not using a pressure-sensitive tablet, because we're going to use a feature that takes advantage of that without needing the tablet. So do make sure the pen pressure is on. I'm going to make sure I'm painting with white here. There we go. So we just got a really kind of a weighted streak of color going on there. So on a new layer, with that path selected, I'm going to go into the Paths panel. Now the Paths panel is grouped with the layers in the Channels panel. If not, you can simply go into the Window menu down here and choose Channels. And there is the work path. So to save it, I'm just going to go and double click on it and give it a name if you like. But here's the cool part. We created the path and the shape and everything like that. And this is something, again, even as long as I've been using Photoshop, I still will teach people, and they'll be like, I had no idea that feature was in here. So what it is with the path selected, and I've got the brush already set up, go into the little pop-up menu here and choose Stroke Path. And what you can do is actually assign any of these tools to that path. It'll actually draw along that path. In this case, we're going to use the brush tool. And here's where that pressure sensitivity comes into play. Notice there's a checkbox for Simulate Pressure. That's what it's going to do, is simulate that, but it needs to be checked on in the brush options to do that. So when I click OK, look what it does. It gives me a rather interesting stroke on the text.
I
Now,
like that stroke.
And you see that varies the weight of it, giving it a sort of style to it.
Right.
Now, what I can do is add maybe something like an outer glow layer style and give it kind of a glow on it, more like a neon effect type of thing.
It almost kind of looks like a block of type that's kind of half receding.
Precisely,
into the
it
dark.
does. Instead of that boring same size element all the way around, now we're giving it, a little bit more life by this way. And you can actually add one final element because it's pixels on a layer with a layer style. If I go in here into the thicker part and add a little radial gradient, maybe say right here, boom, you can give it a little bit of flash of light. Just to kind of give it that little extra flair or something like that. So taking a simple text layer, converting it into paths, and then of course I've only done one thing with it. There's a number of possibilities you can do with this. You could turn it into like a vector mask and mask a shape within a shape or something like that. All kinds of things you can do with those little hidden features.
Very cool, man. Very, very cool.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, paths, if you're not used to working in Illustrator and stuff like that, paths freak people out.
Oh, and people tend to think paths are just for making really accurate selections.
Right.
And it's really, really great for that. But there's so much more beyond that it can do. In fact, I have a whole course on Kelby Training. It's Mastering the Pen Tool. There's so many different things you can do with it. I talk about this very thing, among many other things as well.
Well, one of the things I love about the paths is that it's so forgiving. You mess up, you just go in, you cut out a path, or you move it. It doesn't look quite right. You just come in and adjust it because it's all editable.
Exactly. So.
Nice.
Beautiful. All right, break time, I think.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we have a contest. We have websites. We have tons of stuff. Just come back.
Come back. Just wait. Wait there.
Hi, I'm Joel Grimes. I'm a commercial advertising photographer. I've been doing this for over 35 years. I'm here at Kelby Training to teach you guys how I do my composites. I start in the studio, we take a subject, put her on a white sweep, shoot with my 3-edge gritty little lighting techniques. Then we go in the field, we shoot some HDR backgrounds, and putting it all together in Photoshop and making it one amazing killer image. If you're interested in this kind of compositing, come check out my classes.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Photoshop User TV, here with Mr. Corey Parker and a feverishly typing Pete Collins. Pete's like, I gotta go, gotta type. Now, the only reason that we're doing that is because we're playing around with a Google Hangout while we're taping, and I didn't want to necessarily mess up my screen. But I wanted to talk to you guys about what to do to leave a comment on the show. Chances are you're watching on Google, you're watching on YouTube, you're watching all over the place. There's only one spot that you get a contest. Go to the Kelby TV website /PhotoshopUser TV. This is where you're going to find the episode that you're dealing with, and click on there, leave a comment. Remember, this is your show. Tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, tell us something that you have a question on. Anything that you want to be able to see, that's where it's going to be. Now, one of you is going to win these 2 prizes. The first one, action sports or adventure sports photography with Tom Bull. Tom's a phenomenal photographer, and he does some great stuff over at the Kelby Training site as well as inside of PhotoshopWorld, and now he's written a book for this stuff. So I think that I'm holding it down for the Google Plus guys. So he does this stuff as well. So this is gonna be a great book. Make sure you take a look at this.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. The eye stabilizer.
I love this
I've fallen in love with this, dude. This is pretty cool.
I love mine.
Yeah.
I use it a lot, yeah. Even when I'm at my desk, it's a good stand for it, but it has so many uses otherwise, so yeah.
Like I wanted to use it because I started using True HDR on my phone just to play with it. And then all of a sudden I started using it more for, I was trying to hold it for you guys. I started using it more for FaceTime. When I was doing FaceTime calling,
yeah, good
all
call,
of a sudden
yeah.
it was like a FaceTime. It was a FaceTime stand. So that part worked out really, really good. So one of you guys is going to receive these 2 prizes. Thank you so much for the prizes. But that pretty much wraps us up, I think, for today.
Yeah, no, it does.
So on behalf of myself, Mr. Pete Collins, Pete, where can they find you? Where can they find the stuff that you're doing?
Easiest thing right now is
Go to the Photoshop User website, probably.
Photoshop
right?
User website. I'm doing a lot over on the NAP website and the forums. You can find me in the forums, messing with the guys over there all the time. And you can see me on G Plus at
PeteGplus.com.
PeteGplus.com.
So, and Corey, where can they find you?
Of course, I'm over at planetphotoshop.com, and of course, I'm on G+, CoreyGplus.com, Twitter, Planet Photoshop. I mean, all over the place.
Nice,
So.
very, very cool. And you can find me over at D-Town TV, or you can find me over at rcgplus.com. Hey, this is cool. I'm glad to be back here for a little short segment.
Three
we are.
amigos.
That's right.
You've taken a break from the weather. Who's manning the weather station?
I don't know, but you're going to want to see who it is next week. So take care, everybody. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.